So I'll be honest, I'm not a really big gimbal user. Now it might just be that my cameras that I use have pretty good IBIS, so I can usually keep the shot pretty steady. But even back when I used cameras that didn't have IBIS, I didn't find myself using a gimbal that often. And in my opinion, I feel like there's definitely a law of diminishing returns when it comes to gimbals. I mean, there's so many new gimbals and they all do different things, but really they all do the same thing, which is stabilize your camera. So buying a really cheap gimbal is still going to essentially do the same thing as buying a really expensive one is. But today we're talking about the new Weebill 2 by Zhiyun. I do want to thank Adorama for sending this gimbal out to me for review, but that's all they did, send it out to me. They're not seeing this video before I release it, and this is going to be my honest opinion about it. So there is a lot of highly technical reviews by people who are a lot more versed in gimbals than I am. So what I wanted to do, instead of talk specs and stuff like that with you, is just kind of give you some of my thoughts on using the Weebill 2 and just some of the things that I liked and didn't like about it. And all these thoughts and opinions are coming from someone who, yes, doesn't use gimbals all that often. And when I do use them, I use a really cheap DJI Ronin SC. So basically, this gimbal is my point of reference. So first, let's talk about weight. This gimbal is on the smaller side, so it's definitely not the heaviest gimbal out there, but it is definitely heavier than my Ronin SC. If you take the underslung handle off as well as the tripod, that will cut off some of the weight, but you are gonna have to at least bring the tripod with you wherever you go in order to balance the gimbal. So this is gonna be lighter than some of the other Zhiyun gimbals and maybe some of like the bigger gimbals from DJI like the Ronin S. It's still not the lightest gimbal out there. Now let's talk features. This gimbal has an array of different features. I mean, so many that I probably haven't even tested them all. One of my favorite features about this gimbal is that it actually has an LCD display, which isn't a new thing, but this actually has a flip out LCD display that you can very easily tuck away when you're not using it. The thing I like about this LCD is that you can actually control a lot of the functions of the gimbal through the LCD. It's actually a touch display, so you can do auto collaborations and fine tune your motors within that LCD display. Now let's talk about balancing. Balancing this gimbal was not a walk in the park. Now I like to think that I know how to properly balance a gimbal, but I'm totally willing to admit that this could just be user error. So it seemed like whenever I thought that I had the gimbal balanced perfectly, as soon as I tried to go into underslung mode, I would get these really crazy vibrations and I would have to set it down and do an auto collaboration and rebalance it in order to get rid of the crazy vibrations that would happen whenever I would go from just normal mode to underslung mode. Now again, this could be just user error and me totally not knowing what I'm doing, but I don't have that problem with my Ronin SC, at least definitely not as often. The things I don't like about this gimbal so much is that you can't change the batteries, and so you have to plug it in via USB-C, wait for it to charge. You can't take it apart and you can't access the batteries at all. They're all internal, so basically you can just charge it once and you go out and you shoot, and unless you have a way to charge it some more, once you're out of battery, you're done. I found that with all of the extra collaborations and balancing that I had to do on the Zhiyun when I was out filming with it, that took up a lot of the battery life, and it seemed like I barely got any shots done and I was already at like 40%. But other than that, I absolutely love the footage that it produces. It does, again, what a gimbal is supposed to do, which is stabilize your shot and make everything look super floaty and professional. And overall, this gimbal just works really, really well. The problems that I have with it, I feel like, are that for the price, it just doesn't seem as good of a bargain as something like even the old DJI Ronin SC, unless you buy the other accessories that help you utilize this Weebill 2 to its full potential. Getting the video transmission kit and maybe even getting the follow focus kit with it so that you can really rig this out and use it to its full potential. I think that's where this gimbal would really shine. For someone like me who uses small cameras and small lenses, I wouldn't say that it ticked every box that I wish it would when it comes to the perfect gimbal for me. But anyways, I hope that you enjoyed this review of the Zhiyun Weebill 2. It's definitely a pretty cool gimbal. I'm gonna leave a link in the description below that you can go check out if you want to know more about it. If you like this video, it'd be really cool if you hit the like button. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. And if you'd like to watch some more of my videos, you can click on either side of my face. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I'll catch y'all next time. Later.